Good afternoon, race fans. Welcome to Thompson Motorsports Park in Thompson, Connecticut. I'm Aaron Johnson with the Johnson iRacing Network, bringing today's feature race. It's 40 fast laps on the high banks at Thompson. This is the iRacing Advanced Legends Series, and it's the top split, the best of the best, the top talent that was on the iRacing server at the time this race was offered. Let's have a look at today's starting lineup. Starting in the 14th spot in car number 13, it's the ATM-A Legends car of Jorge Uca, Jorge out of South America. Starting 13th in car number 10. Racing with us from Arlington, Texas, it's the Texaco Legends car of Cameron Welburn. Starting in the 12th spot in car number 7, he races out of Georgia, that is Thomas Pereira. In the 2 car, starting 11th, that is Justin Anderson, the BTRC Hobbies Legends car from Des Moines, Iowa. Justin will show up on your telemetry as car number 2, but on your screen in the blue and black car, 85. Starting 10th in car number 14, that is Lance Elliott out of Tacoma, Washington. Lance in the Mobile One Legends car. In the Royal Purple Legends car out of the Northwest region, starting in the 9th spot, that is car number 12, Casey Hilburn. Casey having a good run today. Starting in the 8th spot in car number 4, that's Adam McKay. McKay racing with us out of Illinois. Starting 7th, racing out of Illinois as well in car number 9, that is Tim Akers. Starting 6th in car number 8, he's going to show up on your screen also as car number 85, so this may be a little confusing. There'll be two 85s with identical paint schemes. Also, the BTRT Hobbies / Shutter Zone Media car of James Gerald. Now, your top 5 starters. Starting in 5th in car number 11, racing with us from Canada in the Mark's Auto Service Legends car, that's Nick Hamill. Starting 4th in car number 6, also racing out of Canada, that's the Wild Man himself, the Mopar Legends car of Rodney Wilde. Starting 3rd in car number 5, that's Rick Cutway. Rick in the TLC Real Estate car, racing out of New York. On the front row outside in car number 00, he'll show up on your telemetry as car 3, but on the screen is 00. That is the Mizzou Legends car of Aaron Johnson. Johnson out of Bailey, Colorado. And on the pole in car number 1, he's going to show up on your screen as car 94, but in your telemetry as car number 1, that is the pay-to-win setups car of Jon Tuckness. Tuckness out of Nashville, Tennessee. This race scheduled for 40 laps at Thompson, the top split here. Average iRating of about 2,500, making this a fairly strong split in terms of iRating. The pace car leading the field out of turn number 2. Tuckness in the bright red pay-to-win setups car has to be the favorite. Tuckness currently sits about 19th in the overall global Legends point standings. This out of about 20,000 drivers that have attempted races for points in Legends. So Tuckness, one of the best in the iRacing Advanced Legends Cup. The pace car should be in at any moment. The pace car's in. Tuckness hammers the throttle. Boy, Johnson gets off to a terrible start. Must have missed a shift. Jon Tuckness takes a quick lead, and Aaron Johnson just disappears. A terrible start for Johnson. Fortunate that he did not bottleneck the field and cause an accident with that terrible start. Tuckness races out to a quick early lead. Jon Tuckness, very quick and no stranger to leading laps at Thompson. In the 2nd spot, that's going to be the 5 of Rick Cutway. Then behind Cutway, it looks like it's going to end up being Johnson. Johnson rebounding slightly from that terrible start, but Aaron Johnson really got off to a terrible start and bottlenecked the field. Nick Hamill runs 4th with Lance Elliott in the 5th spot. Out front, it is Jon Tuckness leading the way. Tuckness now into turn number 1 through the center of, into turn number 3 through the center of 3 and 4 onto the front straightaway. Jon Tuckness will lead lap number 2. We are 3 laps into a 40-lap event. Jon Tuckness with a comfortable lead. Cutway 2nd, Johnson 3rd. Behind those 2 drivers, it's the 11 of Hamill, then the 14 of Elliott. Behind them, it's Anderson, Hilburn, Mackey, Gerald, and Akers rounding out the top 10. Cutway looks like he's closing slightly on the 94 of Tuckness, and it looks like the 11 of Hamill may be closing on the 00 of Johnson. Out front, Tuckness in the 94 runs a nice smooth line. The fast way here at Thompson is the high groove. In that sense, it's a little bit like Darlington, but you don't get quite as close to the wall. Tuckness into 3, now through the center of 3 and 4, steers the car down a little bit to take advantage of the banking. Looks like the 11 of Hamill has spun in the back. Let's see if we can get a look at that. Look at the 11. Did he spin? He did go around, so Hamill went around. That's bad news for Hamill, and that'll move, looks like Anderson now into the 4th spot. Back out front, it is Jon Tuckness in the lead, Cutway in 2nd. Johnson now has closed up on Cutway. These 3 cars pulling away from the rest of the field. In the 4th spot is the 2 of Justin Anderson. Let's have a walk through the field to see where everyone runs on the speedway. In the 1st position, that is Jon Tuckness. Behind Tuckness in the 5, that's Rick Cutway, currently on the lead lap in the 2nd spot. Then behind Cutway, that's Johnson in the black Mizzou 00. Johnson sits in 3rd. Behind Johnson on the speedway, in the 32 car, which will show up as the 2, that is Justin Anderson. Anderson currently being shown in 4th. Behind Anderson in the 14, that is Lance Elliott. Elliott currently being shown in the 5th spot. Then behind Elliott, that's the 12 of Casey Hilburn. Hilburn being shown in 6th. Looks to the inside of Elliott. Nothing doing as Lance Elliott continues to run in front of Casey Hilburn. Behind Hilburn, that's the 4 of Adam Mackey. Mackey currently being shown in the 7th spot. Next on the speedway, that's the 85 of James Gerald. Gerald currently being shown in 8th. Then behind Gerald, that is the 13 of Jorge Uca. Uca being shown in the 9th spot. And behind Uca, that's the 9 of Tim Akers. Akers in 10th place, still on the lead lap. The next car on the speedway behind Akers will be the 7 of Thomas Pereira. Pereira currently being shown in the 11th spot. He is still on the lead lap. Behind Pereira on the speedway, that's the 10 of Cameron Welburn. Welburn in 12th, also on the lead lap. And then behind Welburn, we're around to the 6 of Rodney Wilde. Wilde, the last car on the lead lap. Nick Hamill being shown 1 lap down now. And behind Wilde, we are back to the leader, Jon Tuckness, as Tuckness closes in on Rodney Wilde. Aaron Johnson, it appears, has faded a bit. It's Tuckness 1, Cutway 2, Johnson 3, as Johnson has faded from the leaders. Behind Johnson, it's the 2 of Anderson. Anderson being shown in 4th, Lance Elliott 5th. That looked like it might have been maybe the 8 of Rodney Wilde. No, the 8 of James Gerald that spun. Someone spun there. Having a hard time figuring out who that might have been. Could have been the 9 of Tim Akers as well. Tuckness closing in on Rodney Wilde in that Mopar Legends car. Jon Tuckness with a very quick race car. We are 12 laps into a 40-lap event, and Jon Tuckness leads the way. Tuckness looks to the inside of the 6 of Rodney Wilde, puts Rodney Wilde a lap down. There are now 11 cars on the lead lap as Cutway takes advantage of Wilde moving up the racetrack and goes by as well. Johnson now will have to find his way around the lapped car of Rodney Wilde. Johnson looked like he was taking a peek to the inside and trying to find his way around Rodney Wilde as well. Johnson did make it past Wilde. Up front, it is Tuckness 1, Cutway 2, Johnson 3, as Tuckness begins to extend the lead over Rick Cutway. We are 14 laps into a 40-lap main event. Jon Tuckness continues to hold on to the lead with Rick Cutway in 2nd. Justin Anderson is in 4th, Johnson 3rd, Gerald 5th, Lance Elliott 6th, Mackey 7th, Jorge Uca 8th, Tim Akers 9th, and Thomas Pereira rounding out the top 10. Cameron Welburn in 11th spot, the last car on the lead lap. I think that's Welborn's car just beginning to come into the field of view as we see Jon Tuckness now powering down the back straightaway, heading into turn number 3. Tuckness, a nice smooth line, excellent race car driver. Jon Tuckness makes very, very few mistakes, and it looks like right now the best way for either Cutway or Johnson to have an opportunity to win this race is going to be if Jon Tuckness makes a very rare error, and that is quite unusual. Tuckness, an outstanding Legends car driver here on the iRacing service. Tuckness down the back straightaway into turn number 3. Now through the center of 3 and 4, we can just see what looks like the 10 car of Cameron Welburn, the last car on the lead lap, coming into view as Jon Tuckness keeps up a torrid pace at Thompson Motorsports Park. Thompson, a difficult speedway. Looks like Tuckness had a little internet issue there. Thompson, a difficult speedway. Very easy to get into the throttle too early coming out of the turn and to loop these cars around. The Legends cars run right on the knife edge. Short wheelbases mean cars that come around really quickly and are very difficult to catch once they begin to get out from under you. So here, the biggest challenge is coming out of either 2 or 4 and rolling into that throttle too soon, or getting onto the throttle too hard too soon. Maybe not rolling in, but kind of punching the fuel and spinning that car around, especially early when the tires are cold and late when the tires are worn, and especially if your setup favors putting a little pressure on that right rear. We are 19 laps in. Jon Tuckness leads Cutway in second. Johnson beginning to close back in on the 5 of Cutway. Johnson must have had an error earlier, but he's closed back in. Cutway about 10 cars behind Tuckness. Johnson about 10 cars behind Cutway. Tuckness closing in on some traffic. That's the 7 of Thomas Pereira. Pereira, the last car on the lead lap, now in the 11th spot. Tuckness trying to find a way around Pereira, hoping to put Pereira a lap down, and to do so quickly. Tuckness takes the high side. Pereira gives Tuckness that preferred groove, stays down to the inside to let the leaders pass. A little gentlemanly racing at Thompson. We are at the halfway point. Jon Tuckness leads, Cutway second, Johnson third, Anderson fourth, with James Gerald having moved all the way up into the 5th spot. Lance Elliott is in 6th, Adam Mackey 7th, Jorge Uca runs 8th, Tim Akers 9th, and Cameron Welburn in the 10 car is the last car on the lead lap in 10th. Behind them, 1 lap down, are Thomas Pereira, Rodney Wilde, and Nick Hamill, with Casey Hilburn in 14th, 2 laps down. We see Tuckness powering past the 11 of Nick Hamill. That will drop Hamill 2 laps down. Tuckness leads. He moves out of turn 4 onto the front straightaway. He's closing in on another car. More traffic. May or may not be a lapped car, but more traffic on the speedway. That looks like the royal purple car of Casey Hilburn just in front of Tuckness. Hilburn 2 laps down in the 14th spot. It is the royal purple automobile. Tuckness out of turn number 4. Johnson. Did Johnson get by Cutway? Looks like Aaron Johnson may have gotten past Rick Cutway. Johnson did make his way past the 5 of Cutway, so Aaron Johnson has moved into the 2nd spot. We knew he was closing on the 5 of Cutway. Johnson moves into the 2nd spot. Out front, it is still all Jon Tuckness. Tuckness with about a 20-car length lead on Johnson, pretty close to half a straightaway. Tuckness closing in on some lap traffic. That's the 12 of Hilburn. Then the 4 of Adam Mackey. Mackey, the last car on the lead lap. Hilburn gets sideways in front of the leader there. That's a little dangerous. And the 10 of Cameron Welburn. So Hilburn, Welburn, that's a little difficult as well. Tuckness closing in on the 4 of Mackey, the 9 of Welburn. Johnson trying to close on the 1 of Tuckness. If Johnson's got anything left with 15 to go, now's the time to use it. Aaron Johnson a distant second as Jon Tuckness leads the field. The 4 of Adam Mackey looking to the inside of the 10 of Welburn. Tuckness closing on both. Welburn smacks the outside wall, spins the car sideways, spins right in front of the leaders. Good grief. Johnson made it through. Cutway made it through. Wow, how close was that, as it looked like Thomas Welburn smacked the outside wall and just about had a catastrophe right in front of the leaders. Let's walk through the field one more time and see where everyone is running on the speedway. Behind Tuckness in the 94 on the speedway, that's Aaron Johnson in 00. Johnson currently being shown in the 2nd spot, about a second behind Jon Tuckness. Johnson has closed. Behind Johnson, that's the 5 of Cutway. Cutway currently being shown in the 3rd spot. Then behind Cutway in car number 6, that's Rodney Wilde, the first car on the lead lap. Wilde currently in 10th. Behind Wilde on the speedway, that's the 32 of Justin Anderson. Anderson in 4th spot. Then behind Anderson, that's the 11 of Nick Hamill. Hamill currently in the 13th position, 2 laps down. Next on the speedway behind Hamill, that's the 85 of James Gerald. Gerald currently being shown in the 5th spot, well behind the leaders. Behind Gerald on the speedway, that's the 10 of Cameron Welburn. Cameron being shown in the 11th spot, 1 lap down. Then behind Welburn, that's the 7 of Thomas Pereira. Pereira in 12th, 1 lap down. Behind Pereira on the speedway, that's the 13 of Jorge Uca. Uca currently in the 6th spot. Behind Uca on the speedway, that's the 9 of Tim Akers. Akers currently in 7th. Behind Akers, the next car on the speedway is the 14 of Lance Elliott. Elliott currently being shown in the 8th position. Behind Elliott, that's car number 4, Adam Mackey, the last car on the lead lap, in 9th spot. And then behind Mackey, we're back around to the leader, Jon Tuckness. Tuckness leads, 10 laps to go. It's Jon Tuckness out front, Johnson second, Cutway third, Anderson fourth, Gerald fifth. Those cars the top 5 as Jon Tuckness has begun to extend the lead over Aaron Johnson once again. Johnson just not quite a good enough race car to keep up with the flying 94 of Jon Tuckness. Tuckness may be going to have a little battle with some lap traffic here as the 4 and the 14 are racing for position. But the 4 decides to give Tuckness the high side. The 14 does as well. Jon Tuckness goes past on the outside. Now the 4 and 14 can resume their battle for the 8th spot. It's 4 Adam Mackey on the outside, 14 Elliott on the inside as Tuckness just drives away. It looks like the 4 has made his way past. That should help the 00 of Johnson deal with those lapped cars as well, as Johnson's going to take the outside line and go high around Elliott. Both Elliott and Mackey now a lap down. Johnson trying to close on the 94 of Tuckness. Tuckness down the back straightaway. An excellent race. No mistakes. Jon Tuckness rolls into turn number 3. Now through the center of 3 and 4 out onto the front straightaway. Jon Tuckness continuing to lead. A little wobble there. Tuckness looked like he was just a touch loose coming out of the corner, but he managed to gather it up quickly and lose very little momentum. Thompson also a momentum track. When you run that high line, you need to get a drive out of the corner to carry your speed down the front straightaway and down the back straightaway. Tuckness through the center of 3 and 4 out onto the front straightaway. There will be 5 to go this time by Tuckness. 5 to go. Jon Tuckness leads. Johnson second. Rick Cutway third. Justin Anderson third. Anderson has made his way past Rick Cutway, so it's Anderson third, Cutway fourth, Gerald fifth. Tuckness trying to find a way around the 7. The 7 right in front of the leader here, kind of holding Jon Tuckness up. Now moves up to the high side to give Tuckness a little bit of room. That allows the 4 of Mackey to go past as well. Johnson closing on the 7 of Pereira. He's going to try to find his way around. Pereira now staying down low. I think he realized the leaders were coming and coming quickly. So Pereira moves over and lets Johnson by. There are 4 to go. There will be 3 to go this time by. Jon Tuckness has extended the lead slightly. Tuckness leads by about a third of a straightaway over the 00 of Johnson. Tuckness through the center of 1 and 2. Now out of 2 onto the back straightaway. Jon Tuckness in that bright red pay-to-win setups Legends car doing a fantastic job out front. Through the center of 3 and 4 now. Jon Tuckness will roll out of turn number 4 onto the front straightaway. There'll be 2 to go this time by. It's Tuckness 1, Johnson 2, Anderson 3, Cutway 4, Gerald 5. Tuckness through the center of 1 and 2 now onto the back straightaway. Jon Tuckness has a lap and a half to go to win the feature race at Thompson. Down the back straightaway into turn 3, Jon Tuckness running a near perfect race out of 4 now onto the front straightaway. He's going to take the white flag this time by. Jon Tuckness takes the white flag. There is 1 lap to go. No way Johnson has anything for Jon Tuckness. The only thing that is going to keep Jon Tuckness from winning this race is a catastrophe. And with each moment, that looks less likely. Jon Tuckness now into turn number 3. Rolls through the center of 3 and 4. Jon Tuckness is going to come out of turn number 4. 2 cars get together on the front straightaway. There's a crash in front of the leader. Jon Tuckness hammers the brakes, manages to slow down. Aaron Johnson not so lucky. Johnson gets caught up in the wreck and flips down the front straightaway. He does come across the finish line in second, but Aaron Johnson with a Rusty Wallace-like set of barrel rolls to finish that race. My goodness, what a finish. Jon Tuckness is going to take the win. Aaron Johnson will come home second. Justin Anderson third. Rick Cutway fourth. James Gerald will wind up in the 5th spot. In 6th was Tim Akers, followed by Adam Mackey, Jorge Uca, Rodney Wilde, and Lance Elliott rounding out the top 10. Well, the iRacing Advanced Legends Cup Series did not disappoint at Thompson, as Jon Tuckness takes the win in the pay-to-win setups Legends car. For the Johnson iRacing Network, this is Aaron Johnson saying, go fast, turn left, have fun.